Balotelli. Aguero! Staggering! Just staggering! So Manchester City folk are overdue some uplift, some sustenance. 2 successive defeats, 2 months and more without a home league win. No club demands more of itself than this, the champion club. And champions, they do intend to remain, but there is doubt. The referee is Simon Hooper. His last league game in charge in Manchester was Tottenham's defeat at United in October. So the Etihad braced here for its first Premier League action of 2023. City tonight reaching the halfway point of the season. Spurs embarking on the second half of theirs. So much, of course, can still happen, but in both cases, Lee, so much actually needs to happen. They each have some catching up to do. Emerson's pass was poor, and Kulusevski pounces! And Tottenham still! And Pep is on his knees. What next? Whatever next. It doesn't rain, but it pours. For Manchester City right now, it is one thing after another. We head into 2 minutes of stoppage time, and the champions who have failed to win either of their last 2 home games in the Premier League, who haven't won a Premier League game on this ground for 75 days, are behind on their own turf again to Dejan Kulusevski, who you may recall last February on this ground scored 4 minutes into his Spurs debut. And Kane, and still Kane, and thrust in by Emerson Royal. Spurs are blinking this back. Can it be? 2 goals in no time on the cusp of half-time, and for Manchester City it's a long way back. Right on the break, and Pep Guardiola's champions, 8 points behind the league leaders, find themselves 2 goals behind the neighbours of those leaders. And City have a task on their hand. Manchester City have not lost successive Premier League games for more than 4 years. That is how high their bar is set. Riyad Mahrez around Perisic. Mahrez, Grealish. Alvarez! The champions punch back! A World Cup winner's goal. There is your mood changer. And believe me, you can feel the change of mood. City are in it again. Mahrez, Lewis outside of him. Mahrez for Rodri, and Rodri for Mahrez. Haaland! The heavyweight bounces off the canvas. The champions back in the battle. On behalf of Pep Guardiola, Erling Haaland has his first goal of 2023. And his 22nd goal in the Premier League. That is 1 fewer now than last season's top scorer got in the entirety of the campaign. So much for the drought. By my reckoning, that is 4 goals in this game in just about 10 minutes playing time. Mahrez, Riyad Mahrez! They are swamping Tottenham. It's really the same game, the same day as it was a quarter of an hour ago. Feels as though we've woken up and it's tomorrow. Kane for Kulusevski. Kulusevski! Oh, what a stop that is as Perisic drove in on it. To all the world, Spurs were taking back the lead. Mahrez, and Perisic is committed and out of it. It's Riyad Mahrez! That's just stunning. Manchester City in microcosm. In less than a quarter of an hour, the lengthiest journey from utter despair to elation. Well, it's hard not to descend into cliche on this sort of occasion, but that's what champions are made of. And all of this, of course, reminiscent of the day on which they did last become champions, when Aston Villa came here and led 2-0, and City, amid a mood of rising desperation, turned that round and won 3-2. When they were obliged to win it. Essentially the feeling was here, they were obliged to at half-time just to stay in it. But there's the message, they're not going away. Thrust forward by Ederson, and here is Riyad Mahrez! The man of a magnificent Manchester City moment. He's made it happen all by himself. When he shines, he truly glitters, Riyad Mahrez. He's a delicious footballer, and he has restored to a face that frowned that broad Catalan grin. The Algerian conjurer. And even with 4 stoppage time minutes, it's hard to believe that Spurs have a way back now. The performance of a champion club. A club that despises the concept of defeat. A club that stared at a desperate deficit and then laughed in its face. Manchester City trailed at half-time by 2 goals on the cusp of the break from Kulusevski and Emerson Royal. But they came out for the second half and reminded us of who they are. Alvarez, fresh from the World Cup, and his triumph there had them back in it. Haaland had them level, and then Riyad Mahrez, who orchestrated and found within himself the display of a maestro, sealed the deal. First with a goal which established the lead soon after the hour, and then with a clincher right at the end of it all. And Harry Kane's vacant expression sums up how Tottenham are bound to feel about it all. Manchester City, magnificent. So much for a City surrender. Above the Champions Stadium, of course, the Champions pennant still flies. There is no room here, Rebecca, for a white flag. Manchester City are going nowhere fast.